Right. I'm not sure how much more there is. Maybe half an hour. Equity. Right, we've talked about Northwest Business Angels. Who else? Private angels. Nightmare. Hard to find, don't advertise themselves. I try and find, I am in touch with quite a few angels. Actually, someone asked me what I did before in the break. Although I am a chartered accountant, I don't practice as a chartered accountant. I mean, this is what I do all day. I'm a funding specialist. I find funding for businesses. So I find funding for businesses, do business plans, P&L forecasts, cash flow forecasts, and do a little bit of business angel pitching training. So I train people how to pitch so they make the most of it. But angels are a nightmare to find. And there is no sort of repository for them where they all go and just stay. So I'll be honest, I tart myself about and try and find angels that way by pitching at various things and just meeting people. But they are notoriously difficult to find. And even when you do find them, they don't... I find angels tend to fall into two categories. Ones who say, I'm only interested in this one thing, and they're the perfect angel because you know what they want. And I've got a food manufacturing angel who I don't look after him, but he asked me to look out for things for him. So that's all he's interested in. So I know probably the majority of people here are maybe a bit techie, so he wouldn't be interested in anything here. He just likes food. And just on that point, he is well, when I first met him, he was a really big lad. But interestingly enough, just before Christmas, I got a food one and rang him, and he said he couldn't do it because he'd just invested in a brewery, which he claimed was food. And I didn't actually agree. But he said, well, you put things together from different sources, you heat it up, and as far as he's concerned, you convert it into something else, that is a food. But he's the best sort, because most angels actually don't say that. They say, oh, Graham, send me anything, I'll look at anything. And I've just had one today, sent a deal to somebody today. Well, to be fair, one said, I'm too busy, and the other says he just doesn't get that particular trade, and he doesn't want to learn. So, but he says, send me anything. So, they are difficult. I don't know. I find some on LinkedIn. Some people say they are angels on LinkedIn. Some don't. I just look for rich people. One thing. Yeah. Well. Different reasons. Yeah. One thing I have, theory number two of my many theories is when men make money, they tend to have an ego and they tend to think they can do it again, and so they tend to invest. I think generally, says he very quickly, when ladies make money, they tend to spend it on themselves. And there aren't nearly enough female angels around. The Northwest Business Angel, if you go, Julie's gone, but I would say if there was one female business angel there, that would be one too many. Not too many to have there, but I'm not sure there was one there. So if you know any rich women, anybody, I'd be interested to know.
All brides are looking to try and address that, aren't they?
Yeah. Yes, they are. Yeah, and there's one down Angel Academy down in.
I think both of those have investors across, all genders.
Yes,
but they're trying to inspire more
women
female founders because that eventually feeds
will lead.
Female investors as well.
Yeah.
Right. Venture capitalists and commercial angel networks. I'll talk about commercial angel networks first. So when we were talking about Northwest Business Angel, said that's free to pitch and no success fee. Commercial angel networks, of which there are a few, such things like Angel's Den. I don't know if you know of Angel's Den. They're quite big in London. In fact, they're big internationally. I know the guy who founded it, Bill. Can't remember Bill's second name. Crazy guy. Married Fatboy Slim's sister, just as a piece of useless information, in the Sea Life Centre in Brighton, dressed as a crustacean. That he did. It's the only bit of thing I know about something like that, but he did. Anyway, they do invest, but they charge, I think, or they used to charge, something like a £799 pitching fee, and they used to charge a 4% fee, but I think it's now more like 6% success fee. So you need to be careful. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. If you can afford that, take that out of your funding that you get. Venture capitalists tend not to get out of bed for 100 million. true venture capital companies. But nevertheless, if you're getting to that stage, then VCs are definitely a way to go. But they get a bad name, venture capital companies.
Vulture capital.
Is it vulture capital? Yeah, that's what they call them.
Why do you say they get bad names?
They're viewed as being really aggressive and really demanding a lot. It's a bit like the banks. I mean, there will be stories like that where they've been aggressive or just drop deals at the end just when you think you're getting a deal and you've spent loads of money on lawyers and accountants, etc. I work with a guy, a corporate finance specialist. I do a little bit of work for him sometimes on the side, for his business, not my business. And I find he's just a gentleman. He's just a pure gentleman and he does deals. But, so I'm not saying, there's nothing wrong with venture capitalists. All I would say is if you get to that level where you're looking at that sort of money, then try and get some references from people. I mean, you can always take my card and I can put you in touch with people, but there are what I consider to be good venture capital type companies around.
Is Gust.com and AngelList, are they in the commercial angel network?
Yes, yeah.
You know, even if you don't meet their criteria at the time, is it still a good idea to get on their radar?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with getting on anybody who you may need at some point in the future. Just get on their radar. There's just no reason not. I can't think of a reason not to, unless your idea is so precious and so secretive that that's what you're worried about. I've got views on that. I don't think there's any ideas that are really secret. Very few.
ADV actively welcome that, don't they? Through
Yeah.
their platform. You
Yeah.
can apply, and you might not get funding in that instance, but it gets you onto their radar, and they then actively want you to keep in touch with them and update them.
So who's that?
ADV, it's
It's like a
accelerated.
digital venture. Is it dot
No,
venture?
but I think it's in their web address.
Oh, sorry,
Accelerated
yeah.
dot Ventures. I
Dot
think it
ventures.
is.
Yeah.
They put some seed money into Ignite, I think,
Into
and then they have their own pot of money, their
Did-
own fund.
did you into Music Magpie?
I don't know.
No, or was it the guy who runs that's involved in it? There's some connection with music
Yeah, I
and the
think
guy
so.
from Music Magpie.
Yeah.
There's some early stage seed funders, people like Seed Camp. I'm just trying to give you examples here because I just can't list every potential. But if you go on Seed Camp and then look at things that are like Seed Camp, they're an early stage investor. We talked about Northern Bowers. This is a new one for me, a company called Endeavour Ventures. I think their website is something like EndVen, but they normally invest 250 grand and above, but they're an equity funder. You've got people like We Are Nova, who are based in Liverpool, but they take 50% of your business.
Yeah. And it's like a sweat equity deal.
It is, yeah. They do the
There are
work.
other ones. There's
Yeah.
Big Factory as well.
Yeah, there's a few out there.
Padme.
And so, pardon me, so I class Padme as like a partner. So so say you're developing an app, and you can't raise the money to do that, then you go to someone like Howard at Padme and say, this is what I want to do, and he says, right, well, we'll do it for nothing, inverted commas, but I want 20% of your business,
I think
or
it's good if
more.
you've not got a technical co-founder. I think
Yeah.
it's good to partner with those
Agreed.
types of organisations.
Because I have to say, I do some work down at eSpark, Entrepreneurial Spark, and they have a thing called Piranha Pit, and where people come and pitch and stuff. And just to get a sort of view as to how things are going. And we had this guy come in, and he'd spent, I'm sure it was about 70, 80 grand on writing an app. So he'd employed a company to do that, and it didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't do what he wanted it to do. But he did what he told them to do, which is different to what he wanted. It just didn't work the way he saw it going. And maybe the relationship wasn't great, whatever. Whereas, if you partner with someone like a Padme is a great example to use, they've got a vested interest in it working. Whereas these other companies just took the 70 grand, thank you very much. Who else is investing? Crowdfunders, right. I mean, there's loads of these people. I put deals to Seeders, Investor, who are a Finnish company, Crowdfunder UK. They're a little bit more social enterprisey, but they do some commercial stuff. Crowdcube, clearly in Manchester, have a Manchester office. Adam Gillett is the guy who runs it, so you might want to link in with Adam Gillett. And they do raise money. I know people who love Crowdcube, I know people who don't like them. Obviously, the people who don't like them are the people who've not raised any money with them. The people who have raised money with them love them. I tell this story a little bit because I met a guy called Dan Meakin who runs Dirt Factory. Dirt Factory is a indoor mountain biking centre without an indoor mountain biking centre. He raised, I think, 420 grand on Crowdcube through Manchester. He pitched for 350. He was oversubscribed. So I don't know if you know how it works. You put your thing on and say, I want 350 grand. You tend to get some cornerstone investors, people you know, to put money in at various times, right at the beginning, and then seed it in so people who look at it think, oh, it's going up. This is what we need to do. Anyway, he raised 420 grand, and he still hasn't got a centre, and that's 2 years ago. So if anyone's got a big warehouse with good car parking, he's still looking, and those seed investors, they're still there. So my point is, it does work. Who else? Seven Brothers Brewery, they raised money through Crowdcube. But then I know another guy just before Christmas was trying to raise some money on that, and it didn't work. It got to about 42%. Once it creates a momentum if it gets on, but you've got to get past that. And I mean, I'm not a crowdfunding specialist, but I know people who help, if you're pitching on Crowdcube, or as an example, to do that. There is a process to go through, and I would seriously suggest, I know that the point is that there's a cost to it. People think crowdfunding, oh, well, if you don't get the money, you don't pay, but you've spent a lot of time on it. You've probably, from an accountancy point of view, from a video point of view, from just getting all your ducks in one row, from a PR point of view. So it's not, people seem to think it's not cheap, but it's a good way of doing it, and it is a good way of doing it, but just be careful. There are other ones, Kickstarter and Indiegogo are more rewards type things, so you tend to pitch and they get something for it, not a share of your business, but a reward. So I know a guy who, and admittedly it was only 13 grand, raised 13 grand on Kickstarter to write a book about the computer gaming industry in the 1980s. Now, for some people, that's really exciting. And he signed all the books that he gave out. Effectively, it's advanced sales. That's all it is. Anyway, that's what they are. So sometimes it's shares, sometimes it's rewards. Fundraising costs, typically, they vary on Crowdcube and Seedrs, but they're round about 7%. I mean, it just depends sometimes they have a pitching fee, some don't. But you've also got these charges for getting you to that point. So it's not cheap, and it takes time. And my view on crowdfunding is you've really got to be on it. You're on it all the time, and you've got to get some cornerstone investors. If you start off on zero, it's really, really hard. Really hard.
There's a startup in Accelerate Places that helps on that.
Yeah, I've forgotten the name of it.
I know, I'm searching it on LinkedIn.
Yeah, but that's all they do. They've had a lot of success apparently.
Yeah, I think one of the founders has come from Indiegogo and the other has come from Kickstarter, and so they specialise in getting startups onto those platforms.
Yeah.
And can you share those details with us?
Yes, once one of us remembers. We will dig it out.